What is up, guys? Welcome back to the TNT Business Podcast. I'm your host, KT Temple, and here is my co-host, Ken Temple. What's up?
Who is very excited that he's come to see his son at the end of this week.
Yeah, you didn't want to come see me this weekend.
No.
Why was that?
So we have an update. If a lot of people have said they enjoyed our podcast that we called Data Centers and Dookie, and I still have not actually seen a data center, but KT knows that the Dookie part is real. So apparently he ate some lettuce or a jalapeno or something, and he got the virus that I can't pronounce. So by the way, KT, you're looking really svelte today. Like, I mean, slim there. But you look like your brother Freddie all of a sudden.
Yeah, man. I live connected to the gay bar, and I walked past there yesterday, and the guys there I'm friends with, they were like, "You look pale, son. Are you okay?" Like,
yep. There you go.
Called me out on it. Yeah, I've had the poo-poo flu for since Wednesday. It's the best diet you can get. People are on Ozempic, but if you get the poo-poo flu, man, you'll lose weight, no problem. Yeah. But yeah, this is my first day back alive since then. Poor Jonathan.
He's looking forward to Dad coming down and buying him food this weekend.
Yeah. Sure. Oh God, dude, I need some calories for sure.
I'm so glad we have a guest today.
Our poor guest gets to start off like this the first time on the show. We're going to introduce Jonathan here in a second. Before we get to Jonathan, and by the way, guys, we're going to talk about the Korean stock market and a little bit about financial stuff today. So we, again, when we do these smart episodes, we got to bring in somebody smart who can actually talk to us. So we got Jonathan. Before we get to Jonathan, I do want to thank our sponsor, the Temple Team. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you can find us at thetempleteam.com. We are a local real estate agency based out of Charlotte, Lake Norman area. We've got agents all the way up from Statesville down to Fort Mill. And if you're looking somewhere else, still reach out to us. We would never want you to end up with a bad real estate agent. We'll connect you with one of our trusted partners all across the United States and internationally. So before you make any real estate decisions, reach out to us at thetempleteam.com. So, with all that out of the way, welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for putting up with us in the beginning intro there, man.
I don't know how I follow that.
For the people that are watching this, they could figure out who the financial planner was out of this. Me and KT are sitting here with our KWT shirts on. KT's wearing his mega camp. I got my No One Succeeds lawn, and here we got our professional in this.
Yeah. Someone wore a colored shirt. Actually shows up properly.
Like CNBC playing in the background, and yeah. So, awesome.
Jonathan, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Jonathan Malone. I own a boutique wealth management firm in Lake Norman area, Mooresville specifically. So we help folks with, accumulating, distributing, and transferring their wealth, tax strategies, estate planning, all that fun stuff.
Awesome. He was the guy at the end of the last episode that when we said we give money to somebody smarter than us, this is my dad's guy.
Yeah, that's where we talk about that. We give somebody smart. We don't try to do anything with it. Like I didn't run out and buy a bunch of SpaceX when it was $220.
So Jonathan, before we get into like the topic we wanted to talk about, I know a lot of my buddies who are very early on. I'm 32, and I've got a buddy who owns a house outright, right? But still doesn't have a financial planner and doesn't understand what that even looks like, where they should start. Could you talk a little bit about what that role is for our younger audience?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So everybody's at a different stage in life. Some people are accumulating, some people are still trying to figure it out. I had some folks we work with, they're like, I want to save, but this goal is more important. I want to get my house paid for by the time I'm 40, just for example. So all of their extra resources are going towards that. That's why, I love coming to work, because every single meeting is different. Everybody has a different goal. Some people will retire early. Some people say they'll never retire, and they just enjoy the grind, and they like what they're doing. So, but someone younger, like I have adult kids that are just starting out, and because of what their dad does, they've had to save half of every birthday gift, paycheck, and everything since they were kids, right? Well, now they're in a position where they have some substance, and they're learning about what stocks to own and what the markets do over time. So it's fun.
But why would I work with you, Jonathan, when I can just do sports gambling on Kalshi?
we encourage folks to try out and experiment a little. And like some people will say, "Hey, I know you've built this plan and you have my money that has a long term goal, but I really want to buy a couple shares of this, or I want to go buy options." We call it like the sandbox or the play money. What's like if you're going to Vegas, what are you comfortable losing? In case
Yeah.
in case you screw it up. We don't get it. We're not perfect. None of us are. If we had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be here, but we get it right most of the time. So
That's what we
yeah,
should have told everybody when we did that episode, Dad, is go lose a little bit of money, and then here's Jonathan's information for when you're tired of that.
right.
Awesome, man. So yeah, I found a really cool video on the Korean stock market, and I brought it up to my dad last week. So he asked Jonathan to come along and just talk a little bit about it because it is so crazy of what's happened. You want to say anything about that, Dad?
I watched, I watched something on it. It had never hit 3,000 before. And then I think it was maybe in like December, it hits 3,000 and then 4,000, 5,000, and we're already at 9,000. And now it's back. I looked over the weekend and I think it's in the low 6,000s, maybe. I mean, it's not back down, but it's all this since December. This is all happening. I mean, people have made and lost a fortune, but there had to be something behind it. And I could tell you what's behind it and you would not understand it when I tried to explain it. So that's why we brought somebody smart on that is going to tell you exactly what happened there. And then and then KT, the hard question we're going to ask him at the end is, okay, could it happen here?
Take it away, Jonathan.
There you go. Tee it up. We're not going to say anything in the next 15 minutes. Go.
No, it's funny. Out of nowhere, I get a text from Kent, after 5 o'clock that says, "What is going on with the Korean stock market?" And, I gave him a call back. I said, "It's after 5, the fees double. You know that, right?" And he's joking. But no, I mean, what's crazy is they've been rallying since 2021, Korean stock market. And there was a lot of optimism on the chips, and what had ended up happening, I think it went from 4 billion to 20 billion of worth in just two companies. It was Samsung and that SK Hynix, if I'm saying it right.
Mm-hmm.
And they made up over 50% of the index, which, if those two stocks crumble, I mean, people buy a stock to make money. And if it goes up in value like crazy, of course, people are going to take profits. So some of that, and we all know, what drives stock prices in the short term is like fear, greed, politics, news headlines. But what drives stock prices in the long term is, is the company profitable? Is it having revenue growth? Is it paying a decent dividend? So people were panicking. They started taking profits. And then when they saw the losses, I mean, now it's come back about 20%, but when you lose 40% of value, it's got to come back over 65% just to break even. So a 20%, correction isn't really enough. So it's just something to keep your eyes on, right?
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is that if you lose 10%, you're not back to even when you gain 10% back. You're still short.
Right.
It takes it's a longer hill to climb when they come back up to get there. But Jonathan, where was all this money coming from? I mean, how all of a sudden did people have the money to drive into the stock market and make this happen?
Highly leveraged. A lot of people were borrowing. If you have a good credit rating, if you've been working with a brokerage firm forever, you can go to them and say, "Look, I got $1 million in my portfolio. I'd like you to give me a credit line because I think this stock is going to be great." And then if it doesn't, they can do what's called a call. They can say, "Well, we need our money back," and you're forced to sell at a loss. So you guys are familiar with that with your industry, but so a lot of these U.S. investors were also invested heavily in these companies. Just because it's a Korean index doesn't mean you can't buy those companies here in the U.S. So there's a lot of people that got those margin calls, and they were very, very leveraged. So
one of the things that we also saw was the advantage of being able to do those 3 times leverage options straight from your smartphone, and that the government was actually promoting that. Is that something that has ever been seen in America, like something like that? Because I had never heard of that before.
Yeah, there's some ETFs and investment vehicles you can buy that are like triple leverage to the to the NASDAQ or whatever. But it's just, it kind of gets in the weeds with one. I'll not change the subject, but one point that I would like to talk about is, these corrections happen faster than ever. 25 years ago, you had to call your broker and say, sell everything. Now people, they pick up their phone, they're like, sell, 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 if they're panicking and have fear. So we're just in a new age. I mean, it kind of goes back to technology. Remember when you had to go downtown? Kent, you might remember this. You would go downtown Charlotte to the American Airlines office and buy a ticket, and they would hand you your plane ticket. And now you can do it on your phone when you're at a red light, right? So everything has changed, at least the technology. But yeah, but to answer your question about leverage, yes, it does happen here. It's just you don't hear about it as often.
Okay, well, since we're talking about leverage, so can you tell us about situational awareness? Because they went from 45 billion to 10 billion because they got, wasn't that all on leverage?
Situational awareness. That remind me a little bit more. I don't.
Oh, that's that Leopold. I wish I could say his name. Leopold Aschenbrenner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the guy?
Was he like leveraging and shorting companies or something?
Yeah, it wasn't. Is this the guy? He was like, it might be a different headline. Was this the guy that was on his way to his wedding or something?
Yes, he's 24 years old and he was on his way to his wedding, and yeah,
exactly. So it's just more of, you think about some of these famous stories. I mean, I always joke that every time someone in my industry screws up, the government creates another rule and another disclosure we have to have clients sign. But there's just a few bad apples that really screw it up for people in our industry. There's 300,000 people that do what I do in this country, and the average age is, so there's a lot of opportunity for someone wanting to get into this business. Because there's a lot of people aging out selling their practice, and they don't have a succession plan. So
300,000 people that do what you do. That's a lot in a country of 340 million.
Right. That's right.
There are one of the things about the Korean stock market that was really scary was that it was all in two companies. And it seems like our stock market is kind of following a similar thing where most of the value's in 7 companies, but they're all in the same industry. Is there a fear around, too much accumulation in those few companies similar to the Korean market?
That's a great, because if you look a couple years ago, remember when the Magnificent Seven was all over? I think that's what you're referring to, all over the headlines, and they're crushing it. But if you were to take those companies out, those 7 companies were about 50% of the S&P's growth that year. And it's like, people say, is AI a bubble? It probably is. We don't know that for sure. But if, the S&P 500 actually has, 503 companies in it, because Google has a couple share classes, so it's not actually, but if 2 stocks were to fall in the S&P 500, it's not crumbling anyway that did, because it's not made up. They're not equally weighted, but in the S&P, but that's just one example. So yeah, something could happen with AI. I mean, these companies, earnings came out second quarter earnings are up, last we checked, for about 38% of all the companies that are reporting, but a third of those earnings are from Google, Alphabet, just one company. So
one company.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you say, the companies that have reported so far are having 40% profit, that's amazing. But a third of that's one company. So it kind of goes back to, now they all haven't reported yet, but we're getting pretty close.
So what do you think about an AI bubble?
It's, George Carlin has a funny bit where he says people are demanding, we need more prisons. We need more prisons, but not here. Right. It's kind of like the same with data centers. Everybody wants this AI, but you need data centers, you need water and all that, but nobody wants it here. So I just think, the social media people I talk to think it's going to replace the Google search. And it just needs, it's not going anywhere, but the analysts we follow, they say they call it picks and shovels era of AI. It's so brand new. It's so early on. The demand right now will continue, but they're estimating $2 trillion by the year 2030. The last report says they're estimating $2 trillion a year of spending on AI. I mean, that's quite a bit of money.
And no profit resolution whatsoever for that $2 trillion in spending.
It's crazy. I mean, that's, how are they making money? I mean, we pay for the premium subscription for Claude and some of these, but I warn people, my adult kids as well, don't use ChatGPT for free. There's no privacy. They don't protect, if you have a subscription through Copilot or one of these others that is premium, then you have some privacy in there, right? But but yeah, the AI is the demand for it's going to continue. I mean, it's crazy what you see it does. Creating. Did you guys
Yeah.
hear about Ben Affleck he had like a movie production company that was all AI, and he sold it to Netflix or HBO for a pile of cash. I can't remember.
And who wants to watch an AI movie? Like I can't stand
Right.
watching an AI short most of the time.
Yeah.
And I just don't know who it's for. I get it for
Right.
business. I just don't totally get it quite yet for entertainment minus it being really good tools.
Right.
So it's a very niche. It's not like a consumer facing. It seems much more business to business facing. So
Right.
yeah.
Agree.
What are your thoughts on the SpaceX IPO? We've been talking
Um,
about that a few times. I like
yeah.
making fun of Elon Musk.
No, I get it. I get it. He was looking, it was a cash grab. Obviously, Paul was part of it to invest in other businesses, but I like that he wanted everyday investors to have access to it. The problem is it backfired. We had a handful of clients that wanted to get it. Like, for example, we had one client who said, just buy 100K, whatever we can get. And based on the volume of our firm, we were able to put in some requests. And one guy got 16 shares. It's like, the $135 opening price immediately went up and it went through the roof. We see that with every IPO, but just it's going to settle down. And there's some reports it's going to get down in the 60s, and even. But I mean, I think I just shows that a private company can do something better than the government in most cases if he can get. He keeps saying that he keeps blowing up rockets because eventually he wants to have people in them and doesn't want them to blow up then, right? So I'm a big fan of the testing, but I just thought,
Man, you would love where
yeah,
I live. It's Austin, Texas. You can't go a street corner without running into a Tesla something.
yeah.
So
But
KT used to want a Tesla, but he can't stand Elon Musk. And so, but I called him one day. I said, KT, I just found out how you can get a Tesla. I saw one and the bumper sticker on it said, I bought this before Elon went crazy. And I said, see, KT, if you get a Tesla, we'll just get you the bumper sticker.
Just get the bumper sticker
to put on there.
That's funny.
So I got one more question, and it's about international investing. And is that something you promote? Because I think a lot of people go directly into the American stock market, or do you push, investing in stock markets across the country, like the Korean one?
Yeah, that's another great question. Is just stock market as a whole is a wealth building machine, and it's one of the few ways to beat inflation. But it just depends on the UK has been suffering for a while, but we are fans. International's done really well in the recent, but we believe also a lot of these US companies already have international exposure. So, but we do of course, we some of these emerging market countries. But yes, we are a fan of international, just not for a large piece of the portfolio. But
Gotcha.
All right, so I got one more, KT too, since you brought up one more. So Jonathan, we don't have smart people on here very often. It's usually people like Joseph Klosik. So anyway, since we have a smart person today, explain to us why the United States would buy Japanese yen. Because for the comment, and I've tried to read it and I understand it a little bit, but why would you go buy another country's currency?
I mean, there's a whole industry. Well, first of all, let me address the smart person comment there. If I don't have all of these we have a team of researchers, analysts, and people we follow, so it makes my talking points look good. So I don't have all the answers, but
we'll call you. And in that case, okay, since we have a smarter person,
okay. I love it. But I mean, there's a whole industry of currency trading and currency. People are looking for deals. I mean, if the buying power is lower, there might be an opportunity. We don't really get into a lot of that, but there's got to be. I mean, obviously it's kind of like remember back in the day, China was buying a lot of our debt, U.S. debt, because they knew it was strong. We're going to make our payments, and they saw an opportunity. So,
gotcha. Awesome, guys.
What else you got,
Anything
KT?
else? Anything we didn't bring up, Jonathan, that we should have?
No, this is great, guys. I enjoy the banter. I listen to some of your episodes over the weekend. It's funny. You guys are a good team. You guys are a good team. I love the way you dig at each other. Reminds me of the locker room. Just
yes, yes.
We couldn't call it locker room talk. So we had to stick with TNT.
Okay.
Jonathan, if people want to reach out to you, learn more about your financial planning services, how would they do so?
Yeah, check us out at castlewealth.com. You learn a little bit about us. My founder story is on there. Tells you why we do what we do, and why we love what we do. But yeah, castlewealth.com. And, we'd love to talk to you. See if we're a good fit.
Awesome, Jonathan. We appreciate your time. Guys, we want to thank the Temple team as well. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, find us at thetempleteam.com. If you learned something from this episode, please leave us a review, share it with a friend. We'll see you guys again next. When do we release these now? Tuesdays at 5?
Tuesday morning.
Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Tuesdays. We'll see you guys again. You threw me off. I've had this down for like 4 years. Yes, we will be releasing these now on Tuesdays. So we record on Monday. Do this on Tuesday, release on Tuesday. That way we're not 2 days behind like we have been for so long. So we'll see you guys again next week. Thank you so much for listening.